am Morgan Marcinko. I work at Camp Sunshine. So I am the community program manager there. What that means is really before COVID, I was going into the hospital at our 2 locations in Atlanta at Scottish and Eggleston, providing activities and camp stuff and therapeutics and everything to the inpatient and the clinic setting at our 2 hospitals. So during COVID, my life has looked a lot different in figuring out how to do different stuff to still reach our patients. So I am going to talk a little bit about that and kind of get into that. There's all my information. If you guys need to reach out to me at all, I'd be happy to answer any questions. But the first thing that I'm going to kind of get into that we've done is doing a Therapeutic Thursday and a Wacky Wednesday. I started this about 3-4 weeks ago. What this is I used to be a child life specialist and work in the emergency department, and I love therapeutics but never got the time to really create them. And so I'm helping the child life specialists out. I collaborated with them and talked to them of kind of what their needs are as far as therapeutic goes, and I've just helped make some of my own. And I send that to them every Thursday to kind of help out with that. Wacky Wednesday, I send them a video that I have recorded of myself doing some activity that I used to do in the hospital or that I know the kids love to do, like slime making, shaving cream art, coffee filter art, stuff that they might have at home or in the hospital that's easy to access. I make a video of myself doing it, and then I will email that every Wednesday to the child life specialist. My idea and hope is that I have been bringing activity bags as well to the hospital, and that moving forward in those activity bags, they were making slime. I would have glue and saline solution and all the mix-ins and add-ins in an activity bag with the recipe and then a link to that YouTube video. Volunteers aren't welcome in the hospital right now. March 12th was really our last day. And so this activity bag, they could, if they wanted to do it with someone, they're kind of doing it with someone. They can pull up that YouTube video and watch me make slime and make slime kind of alongside of me. So that's my hope moving forward, to make those specific activity bags with the YouTube link in it as well. So the next thing I have is this bone marrow mailer that I have been doing. It is a newsletter for our bone marrow transplant unit. I know that that's really specific to Atlanta. There aren't bone marrow transplant units everywhere, but in our current situation, it's kind of opened my eyes to our friends who are getting bone marrow transplants are also, they've experienced this social distancing and everything. And so we have the opportunity to kind of use what we are learning to meet those very immunocompromised kids. And so the bone marrow mailer, it's a mouthful, is just a newsletter filled with activities. You can interview a staff member, you can submit a poem, you can submit a drawing, and I put that together and make kind of a monthly activity book for them in a newsletter. You could honestly use this and do a newsletter for your entire unit if you wanted to, if you don't have a bone marrow transplant unit, and kind of do something like that. It helps promote community among that unit, and that I email to the bone marrow child life specialist every single month, and she communicates back and forth with me. I know I've seen a lot of camps doing the bingo and trivia. I think that's great. Bingo, trivia, Pictionary, all great things. Things that we are using to reach our families at home, but also our families in the hospital. So how do we reach those families is I make a flyer and I send it to nurse management, and I send it to social worker, and I send it to the child life specialist a week before we're doing this event, so that they can let the people on the unit know that this is what we're doing, that we're doing bingo, that we're doing trivia, that we're doing these other things, so that they know and they're aware, and they can help get their kids signed up that are inpatient or that may just be coming through the clinic, making them aware of those things. The last thing I have up on here, and then I'll just get into an idea that I also have that I haven't implemented yet. This is just the staff support kind of ways that we've been reaching out to the staff. We've been delivering meals, Chick-fil-A, handing those out. Also, Chick-fil-A donated some little treat cards, and so I just made a little flyer that said, "You're so sweet, here's something sweet for you," and just put that gift card on it and pass that along to hand out to the nurses and everything. We had little thank you candles that we gave to Child Life and social work. It's such an opportunity to just celebrate anything and everything. If you have budget restrictions, one thing that I've done before is just like made a little flyer that says "You deserve a break," and I stuck a Kit Kat on it, and I made hundreds of those and I passed them out. Really anything just to lift spirits at this time has been helpful, and they've loved it. So it's just finding the little things to get and pass out as much as you can. We also had at the bottom left, you can see our Camp Sunshine cups, and I just made flyers that said, "Fill your cup up with something this week." That was for our hospital week gift, and that was just something to pass out. So it's really just thinking of anything, of any little thing, just to help lift spirits. The staff really appreciates it. So anything you can think of. I think one thing that I'm working on that I'm trying to figure out the logistics of this is really this like request a game to play. Through Zoom, you can kind of figure that out. There are apps of Uno and Yahtzee and everything where Child Life Specialists can maybe, I don't know, we're working on it. Maybe we can talk about that in the breakout session and figure out the logistics of that and anyone's ideas, and maybe we can talk and figure out an idea. But that's what I got. I think that's all of it that I got so far.
Hey, y'all. Thank you guys for being on today. I appreciate it, and thank y'all for asking us. My name is Kelly Reese, and I'm our Chief Operating Officer for Smile a Mile. I'm starting my 21st year, 7th as a staff member this year, so it's crazy year, but just wanted to talk a little bit about what our hospital program looks like. Prior to COVID, we were in the hospital every single week. We were in the hospital in the clinic as well as on the hematology oncology floor, and saw roughly between 30 to 50 kids and families every single week in clinic and then up on the floor. So our kids, we've heard a lot from our families. You know, we've been a staple every Tuesday at 1 o'clock for the past 7 years. So we really had to figure out a way to still be a touch point for our families. You know, they've had to, you know, they've lost so much already, and we didn't want to be just something else that was taken from them. So now what that kind of looks like for us is kind of like what Morgan said. You know, we knew the staff, thankfully. I know more research is coming out about the impact of COVID-19 on kids, but thankfully it's not been, you know, as terrible on children, but families, these nurses, these medical staff, they still have to take care of the kids here and then go home. And, you know, we just decided we wanted to do some things for them. So every week since the last week of March, we've had a touch point with the staff at Children's. And what we decided to do for a couple of those was to do, since we weren't able to have our camp sessions, kind of channel some of those resources to do things for the hospital-wide. Just as, you know, and I know a lot of organizations are not able to do that, and we're very blessed and fortunate to have the relationship that we do with Children's of Alabama. So we provided every single person at Children's Pie Day Friday, and just a slice of pie and a nice note. And we've done meals, but we've also, for the HEMONC staff, did shirts. Who doesn't love a shirt, right? I mean, we're having Sam's Swag Bingo tonight. Madison texted me that we already have 50 people signed up. You know, everybody loves some swag. So what you'll see here, the hope is never canceled. That's kind of like our mantra right now. And we had those made into postcards and also window clings. And that we'll send to the families and also to the kids, you know, just something they can put up in their window. So we've done for the families, we've done for the kids. Show you, before I showed you the packet, you know, for us, we're really struggling with the fact of because we're in the hospital every week and we are considered part of the care team, we have a lot of liberties that we don't take for granted. We know that Children's of Alabama, we have a wonderful, wonderful relationship with them, and that's been an earned thing through the years. We've tried to really subscribe to their rules and all the things that they need. But, we're missing a lot of kids that have been diagnosed during this time. And what, the child life specialists, they're still trying to hand our information out. The nurses are. But what we're really seeing is a gap in those kids that were diagnosed into March to now that we've never met, whereas before we're meeting some kids within 24 hours of a diagnosis. And I know, I think that's kind of I would love to hear more about what other people are doing. But what we decided to do, Stephanie in our office kind of took a variety of our media and the things that we put out to our families and condensed it. And so this is a PDF, and Ashton said he would share that with you guys. But it's just kind of an overview and then a way for them to, if they want more information, they can reach out to us and we can then send them more. So this flyer goes in every packet that we do. And so I'll show you guys that starting the last week of March until now. So every 3 weeks, we make deliveries to children. And kind of what we do is we have, as you'll see, these are two of our child life specialists. At every packet, if it's not self-explanatory, if it's not something like a paint your own canvas or the chalk window markers, those costs, those are very minimal costs. And I've gotten more comments from nurses, staff, and child life about the chalk markers. And we bought stencils and we put those in a packet. And so what we do, as not to be at the hospital every single week, we make the packets up ahead of time, and then we put them in plastic, and then we put them in tubs. Then they're in there for a week or more. So infection control is a big thing, right? So when we put our packets together, we're gloved up, we're masked up, we're in our office. We have no more than 3 of us, social distancing while we're here putting those together. And I can share a link of all the things that we've done. We've done things as simple as things from Oriental trading to the packets that you see here. And starting next week, we will be doing the closed caption television network at Children's. Children's has asked us to be part of their CCTV program, where we will be providing canvases and packets, and then we'll be coming in doing a broadcast hospital-wide. And so I think just thinking outside the box on things that you can do. And what we do is we send these packets in, and then the child life specialists we have a variety of age packet type things that we do. And it's been really, we've gotten a lot of compliments about that because it's easy for them. And their hours are being cut. And so a lot of times the nurses then have to pull the packets out. They're having to give those. So we do put a link. If there's something that we do, we'll put a link on our YouTube or things like that. So I think just trying to be a touch point and making sure we have a touch point every single week, whether it's through an activity with the staff, and staying relevant, and just making sure that these families know that we're there for them. And something as simple as chalk markers and a stencil with your branding on it, that goes a long way. And so I'll just encourage those of you, I'm happy to share our protocol, with what we're doing as far as like infection control and that kind of thing as we're packaging our items. And that may be a way for you to share then, okay, we have a plan, and ask them, can we bring these in with this specific protocol in place? So lots of great ideas already. Morgan, I was taking copious amounts of notes while you were talking. So, and that's one thing I just want to end on. I'm so proud to be part of an organization that readily shares. The camping world is like nothing else, the way that we share and collaborate, and we don't tight fist everything, and we want to help other people grow. And I just want to thank all y'all for the great ideas too that we've gotten through these calls. So my email's on the slide, Kelly with an IE at smilemile.com if y'all need anything. And I'll be happy to answer any questions after we're done. Thanks, y'all.
My name's Mike. I'm from Camp Ooch up here in Canada. We're based out of Toronto, which is one of the big cities in Ontario here. I'm the manager of our in-hospital programs. So we run in-hospital programming in 3 major centers. So we're at Sick Kids in Toronto, McMaster in Hamilton, and London Health Sciences in London. And then we also program at 3 regional cancer centers throughout Southern Ontario as well. So we offer lots of in-hospital programming. We have Sick Kids, we're there 7 days a week, and we're there all day, and we bring volunteers in. At McMaster, we have a volunteer program, and we're there 5 days a week. And then at London, we're there 6 days a week with volunteers as well. Now, of course, that was all pre-COVID. So Aston, if you could advance the slide, please. So I just have a little quote here from a parent just to kind of touch on our philosophy and how we structure our programming. I really love it. It says, "The programs made being in the hospital fun. They gave Alex and I some time apart, which is invaluable when you live in a shoebox together for weeks at a time. It gave us something to look forward to every day. She made friends and got to be a normal kid for a little while." And I really love that, because the whole point, you know, it's so hard what the family is going through while they're in the hospital. The parents don't get a break, and the kids don't get a chance to be kids. So what we're trying to do is to do just that. We want to create an environment where the kids have a chance to still play, to do what they're supposed to do as a kid, to learn new skills, make new friends, and just have some fun. And so our programming, you know, the fundamental pillars are being silly, wacky, zany, and engaging. And so we'll do that, you know, with music. So like ukulele lessons or sing along. We have lots of arts and crafts. We'll do mad science projects where we explode volcanoes, create slime. We, you know, teach magic. We'll play all kinds of games, all with the dash of silliness thrown in there. And we've really built up our program over time and changed it to adapt each hospital, as each hospital is unique, and the relationships you have and the people you engage with there are all quite different. Now, one of the big relationships we have is always with like child life and the social workers, and of course the nurses and hospital management. And we've been very fortunate to build these relationships over time. Currently, we serve inpatient bedside programming where we'll bring things to the patient's rooms and do them in the room with them. We do inpatient group programming. We actually have a room at Sick Kids where we offer programming every day. We do outpatient clinic programming. We're in the bone marrow transplant unit. We run parents and tots programs for the younger ones, usually, you know, music, bubbles, animals, that kind of stuff. We have teen-specific programs, and then we also run camp weeks and theme days. So we try and bring all the fun stuff you would see at overnight camp, bring that flavor and bring it to the hospital world, so that whether they come to our overnight camp or they come to a community program or they come to the hospital, they say they've been to camp because it all seems the same to them, which is really nice. So that's where we were before all this. Now, obviously, things have changed thanks to COVID. So we've actually been out of the hospital since mid-March, and realized, you know, oh my goodness, we have to change gears quickly, because as Kelly touched on this, like there are so many kids coming in that we aren't meeting because we aren't physically there anymore. And how do we create a space for these kids to socialize and to just have fun while we aren't physically there? So the kind of method we took was doing virtual programs over Zoom. So kind of like what we're doing now, we would set it up. We'll have 2 staff minimum at every program, and we'll run all sorts of different activities. And I have some pictures that I'll run through after. And we try and make it as interactive as possible, because we don't just want to have you know, another thing that the kids can just watch. They have YouTube, they have Netflix, all that kind of stuff. So we want to have that interactive piece and that socialization piece, which is really important to us. So the way we've done this is we laminated hundreds of posters and then got them into the hospitals by help of our awesome Child Life friends. So thank you to them, and we love that relationship and are so lucky to have that. And they've gotten them up into almost all of the patient rooms. They're in clinic. They're kind of everywhere on hematology oncology, which is great. And then so it has our Zoom info so that they can access our secure Zoom programming. There's the schedule of what we run every single day. And we're actually running the same amount of programs now as we were before. We're at Sick Kids 7 days a week. We're at McMaster 5 days a week, and we're at London. We only have one group program a week there, but we're still available for bedsides throughout the whole week, which is nice. And some of the programs, you know, again, we'll do music, story time, puppets. We've created digital versions of games such as Spot It, which is huge with our kids that they love here. We've made a virtual escape room, actually, which we'll be testing out next week, which is exciting. We have Digital Family Feud, which we can change, you know, the answers in that and run that every week. And then we have some other stuff like Blend It and that, which I have a good picture to show. So I'll kind of ask them if you could advance the slide. I'll go through some of the photos to show that. So this is basically the setup. We get our staff, they just go behind a computer. They're on Zoom. This is one of our staff doing story time. That's right. That is Tyler. So Tyler's doing some story time here. We get to choose, you know, we'll have different books and that we'll engage with the campers. Sometimes we'll do like choose your own story, make a story, whatever that looks like. Yeah, so that's just one of the examples. Asking if you could advance the slide, please. This is another one of our staff. He is doing, you know, being a character here. And so he is our, you know, hip music moderator for one of these programs, of course noted by his sideways hat, which is the giveaway there. Aston, if you could advance the slide, please. This is another one of our staff setup. So doing a ukulele lesson, so ukulele 101. Within an hour, we get kids learning the first 4 chords of ukulele so that they can play with some songs. And at the end, we play through a couple songs, which is really fun. And this goes with, we have a camp songbook with lots of kind of classics, your regular camp songs, as well as some popular songs throughout time that have become kind of part of our camp culture. Aston, if you could advance the slide, please. Okay, so this is one of my personal favorite programs. What you're seeing here is Blend It. So one of our staff gathers all of the items that are edible at their household. They put them on the table in front. They have a series of challenges, could be riddles, you know, questions, could be like making something in the room, doing a quick fort, any kind of challenge you can think of. Once the kids do each challenge, they get to pick an item that the staff puts in the blender. At the end of this, the kids have made this awfully gross concoction. The staff then blend it up and drink it, and they get to see, you know, the gross face of the staff, and the kids really like it. And when it's not you doing it, it's also quite fun to watch. So I highly recommend this program. Lots of fun. If you could advance the slide there, Aston. Thank you very much. And then this is just kind of what it might look like on the other end for our campers. So we've had our Marcoms team come up with some cool virtual backgrounds. And so we'll usually throw those up and it makes it look like we're at camp. We'll wear either our braid, which is kind of a staple of our uniform, or you know, one of our camp shirts or hats and that. And yeah, so this is story time or circle time for our younger kids. We have, you know, a puppet show and music going on. And yeah, that's just some of the interactive stuff that we try and do. On top of that, we also have a program, a pre-recorded program that is airing on the closed caption TV at Sick Kids, which is really cool as well. And that runs Monday through Friday. And this week was actually our first week having it aired, which is exciting. And it's called the Camp Challenge. So essentially we have one of our staff is the host, kind of has a little intro monologue, if you will, kind of like a late night show thing, obviously geared towards the kids. And then he presents a challenge, which is something that any of the kids can do in the room. So it could be like making a fort with the supplies in the room. It could be an I Spy kind of thing. They're, you know, a different challenge every day. And then also part of the segment is we bring in another staff, and those two people will do a challenge on camera with each other. One of my favorites is the Oreo challenge, where you take apart an Oreo cookie, you lick one side, the stuffing, you put it on your forehead, and then you race each other. You like try and move your eyes without using your hands, and you have to get the cookie down off your forehead and into your mouth with no hands. And it's a lot harder than it sounds, but very entertaining to watch. Yeah, and then to shift gears, the last thing I just wanted to touch on again was, you know, we aren't able to be in the hospital, but obviously all the nurses and everyone else is still working hard. And to just show our appreciation, we've sent some coffee to the different wards just to say thank you, which is always a nice midday pick-me-up. And we send out a good newsletter, actually, which is we run programs both at the hospital virtually, but we also run them for our community outside of the hospital. So for families in their homes, which is really nice. And we have programs every single week. So we take some of the stories from that, and we'll take some screenshots and stuff and get it clear with those families. And we'll just send some nice stories out to all of the hardworking hospital staff so that they kind of know what we're up to, and just something fun and cute to brighten their day. And we also include, you know, some other positive stuff from around the web, some links that they can check out for their own viewing. But yeah, other than that, that was pretty much all I had. So thank you for letting me share.
Mike, about your video programs that you're doing on Zoom. For us in New York, it's been a little problematic getting clearance because of HIPAA laws in hospitals to do Zoom conferences. How did you get the okay from your hospitals to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, privacy is obviously a big consideration. And so we have at each hospital, it's, you know, Child Life are our champions there, and they really help disseminate like the information. So all of our programs are password protected, and we only allow patients that are actively on the floor at the hospital to join them. And the staff that are facilitating these programs, we always have 2 of them for rules of 3, and they are the staff that used to work in hospital previously at those locations. So they've had all the clearance and everything ahead of time. And then that way it's just been on a case-by-case basis. We're very lucky. It also looks different at each hospital. For sick kids, which is much bigger here, we've been working with them since 1993. And actually when we started our camp back in 1983, some sick kid staffs were the ones that started our camp. So we've just had that historical relationship. And so we've just made sure that we're changing the passwords and that it's only available to the people who are there at the time. And yeah, because it changes, you know, we can ensure that we know who they are, and we check with Child Life, like, okay, these are the names of the kids, you know, that we're expecting to see, because they'll give us, you know, oh, this camper probably wants to come out. And then as they come in, we have a vet process in Zoom as well. So we have we set up a breakout room, which is our main room that we'll use to actually facilitate the program. And then that way, as kids come in, we'll bring them in one at a time. And then we can, you know, just verify that they're at the hospital as another layer of security. And then we'll bring them into the room. So we have a couple degrees of separation, even on top of the password, to ensure that we aren't missing anything. One of my staff had just emailed me today about the escape room, that he had put one together. And I believe he actually just found a website to use. So if you want, feel free to email me. I don't have the link on me right now, but we've run escape rooms for the last couple of years. And we've just used all online resources and, you know, your own creative brains to come up with, whether it's riddles or whatever's out there, using mazes to spell out clues and that. So yeah, I'd be happy to pass along those websites. If anyone wants, email me. I can put the links in there and send them your way.
Michelle is interested in knowing more about the CCTV program. Will you be videotaping these things, or is it going to be an interactive session, or what does that look like?
So the CCTV part is new to SAM for us. Children's, it's called the Happiness Network, and it will be live for all the children in the hospital. And then what we plan to do is hopefully tape it, so then we can then use it to share, have someone videoing us, so we can use that for our resources as well. But we'll be on Children's Network when we're doing, and I had no idea that was even a thing. So many of your hospitals might have that. I know a lot of schools have it. And so that's become a great resource for them. But they, you can only do so much bingo, right? So they've asked us to step in and do some other things. So looking forward to it. Thank you for that question, Michelle.
The group had a lot of questions wrapped around HIPAA, so they might want to stick those in the chat box too, so that we can kind of talk about that more. One thing that we kind of talked about is, I know Children's, their Child Life team is doing like a Lego challenge. And so they'll give kids a certain amount of Legos and kind of see what they can come up with. And so that's been really cute. And then they like submit their pictures down, and they have like a live video. But if you couldn't do a live video, you could do like, they submit the video and then you report about it afterwards. I've also been doing like puppet theater. They've been making their own puppets and recording that, and doing kind of like spoofs on Frozen and Rapunzel and all different things, and making recordings of those videos, which have been really cute to see. I know they've been doing TikTok challenges and everything like that, but really important. We touched a lot about really working closely with your Child Life team.
So we had a discussion about how to get in the hospital for camps that aren't doing that on a regular basis, and how important it is to use your relationships with the nursing staff and the Child Life to make it easier to get in. We also had a HIPAA discussion. And another camp is alternating treats for the staff, and activities for the kids. So one week it would be staff, the next week it would be the kids, because to do both every week is a lot of work. Another camp is discussing putting GoPros on some of their volunteers to do fun activities like tubing, so the kids will feel like they're part of it, and even trying to engage the nursing staff to get in on it, as in squirting water at the kids or something. So that was a good idea. And I think that was about it.
We do work closely with a group here called the Sunshine Kids, and they've still been, doing their own thing. From the inside, we are only allowed to use WebEx as a platform for virtual activities. Anything that comes from us that we host has to be WebEx, but anything done by an outside group can be anything they want. So at least where I am, they're not as worried about it on y'all's side, and they're allowing that communication and activities to be hosted on different platforms.
We talked at first a little bit about what our camps are doing right now program-wise. A lot of us seem to be working on getting that digital up and going. Some of our groups have talked about how they're doing the YouTube channel so that it can go and kind of see that library of content and resources. We also kind of talked a little bit about not how to break the rules, but how to get around the rules of getting into hospitals and things like that. And so like sending the virtual gift cards for like a Grubhub, or ways for families to get that resource without actually having to like touch anything. That was a big one. We had also talked a little bit about ways to engage with them if we're not on the inside. And so someone brought up the great point that they actually went and got the like inflatable like animals and just like danced around outside the windows of the hospital so the kids could still see them and it was still an entertaining thing, but it wasn't them going into the hospital. And I thought that was really cool. I said before, like our kids just got moved to the 10th floor so that we're probably like ants to them, but like how fun in that kind of circumstance. And then we kind of rounded out the breakout just talking about group programs that we're doing. And so we brought up the Jeopardy that I put in the link or in the chat box as well. So just ways to engage everybody, whether they're in the hospital or not, or, you know, even doing a mesh of them if they're in your programming, like we have some that overlap.